it was a sick PSU. Investments in the film industry tend to be passive and not active. For all Indians, cricket and cinema are paramount. We love these two. And at the end of the day, it's a relationship-driven business. Biggest loss that India has really had. No, I'm not going to do that.
Welcome to At Work on Connected to India. My name is Himanshu Verma. At Work is a podcast where we delay ideas, explore concepts, and speak to people who are doing extraordinary work. My guest on this episode of At Work is a lady who served as an Indian Revenue Services Officer for 17 years, went on to become the Managing Director of National Film and Television Development Corporation, and launched a festival in Chandigarh last year. So she's here to speak to us about the festival as well as a marketplace called CineV. Nina Lath Gupta, welcome to At Work.
Thank you, Himanshu. It's lovely to be here. Thank you.
So tell us about the festival. How did the idea come about?
I believe festivals play a huge role in building audiences. Audiences in India are more and more interested in seeing movies from other countries. Many of those movies, unfortunately, don't make it to streaming platforms. And we thought that Chandigarh, because it's never had a film festival, it seemed a good idea to set up one over there. It's a small startup festival. But yeah, there it is. We're into our second year now.
Why did you select Chandigarh as a location?
I believe that it's important to set up an ecosystem for that helps to build a bridge between investors and creators. There is a need for more private equity finance or debt finance, whatever the case might be, in terms of making Indian movies. And we felt that Chandigarh is a great offsite to do a professional market like that, because it gets people move away from their workplaces and are able to give 100% of their attention.
Yeah, and clearly you had the who's who. You had Karan Johar and some of the biggest names, who attended the first edition of your film festival. So what's in store for people this year?
What is, I think, very special about this year is that we rebranded the market section. Last year we just called it the market section of CIF because we set it up at very short notice. This year we've worked out a strategy. We felt that to build an investor-creator network, investments in the film industry tend to be passive and not active. It isn't as if investors are actively searching out the opportunity to invest in a movie. And to be able to reach out to investors and start the conversation around it and start this transition from passive investments to active investments, we felt we need to do a series of markets around the year. And so we started out with Chandigarh, and we've rebranded it as CineV. So CineV-Chandigarh is the first of these events that's going to take place. That is actually what is the standout element of the event this year.
If you look at India as a market, again, where do you expect the money to come from? Do you think it will be private equity investment, VCs, or banks? How do you see what kind of money would come in? And one more category, would the family offices also, you expect the money would come from family offices as well?
I think it would be very interesting to explore family offices because they do look to diversify their sort of investment base. And at the end of the day, let's be honest, Himanshu, for all Indians, cricket and cinema are paramount. We love these two things about our socio-economic fabric. I definitely think high net worth individuals, people who are passionate about movies, people who want to get into another sector and dip their toes into the water, so to say, where films are concerned, is certainly the target audience. How we propose to mitigate the risk for investors is by identifying films that are backed by very strong talent, strong execution capacity, and scripts that can resonate with audiences and work in the market.
If there are two things NRIs track very closely, if I have to pick up out of various things, one is the dollar rate, the currency fluctuations, and Bollywood, like you said. And also, last year, the diaspora made a record of remitting almost more than $100 billion back to India. So NRIs would actually form as a very important target for you to raise capital for investing in films. Do you have any plans of doing roadshows across the world? And will CineV and your festival travel to other parts?
Yes, absolutely. So the first segment of the CineV platforms is in Chandigarh. And then in the beginning of May, we go to Los Angeles, where we present projects that have the ability to align with producers from Hollywood, because we believe India has become a very attractive filming destination because of the incentives that are on offer. We would definitely like to work on that. The other market for us that is very attractive is the UAE, of course, because there are a lot of potential investors over there. We would like to do something there as well.
And how would you respond to my earlier question with regards to doing a roadshow specifically to invite NRI investment in films?
I would be delighted to do that if I can, if I can find support to help us to do a roadshow for NRIs. I would be absolutely delighted to do that.
So I'll ask a very simple question. How do festivals help the different stakeholders who are involved in a festival?
So there are fundamentally three stakeholders. The organizers, for them, of course, it's about promotion of art, promotion of cinema as a tool of soft diplomacy. The second major stakeholder, of course, is the industry, is the film industry, and the third is the local city where you do it from a tourism perspective, from contributing to the cultural fabric of that city. So these are principally the three stakeholders that are there in the film sector. Now, film festivals have played a huge role, one, in enabling distribution. And I will just give you an example of Film Bazaar, which was an earlier market that I set up when I was in NFDC. And when we built Film Bazaar, the entire idea was to discover new talent and put it out there. In that new talent, a lot of new ventures were formed. Came out of Film Bazaar. A lot of talent came out of Film Bazaar. Lunchbox is one example. Monsoon Shootout, Qissa, Miss Lovely, the list goes on and on. A lot of talent came out of there, and they are leading talent in the industry in India at the moment. They're very well known names who began their careers at that point of time. So festivals play a huge role in this, and at the end of the day, it's a relationship driven business. So you need this place where people can congregate and talk to each other about business and make new connections and build their.
You spoke of Qissa and Lunchbox. These were two projects which you had supported yourself.
Yes.
And I want to ask a question about the late Irfan Khan. You must have interacted with him. Tell us, can you talk about some of the memories, strong memories you have of engaging with Irfan?
Well, honestly, I my interaction with him would have been purely off the set because that was really not my job. That was the job of the producer on the set and of the. But he was a wonderful man. He was, I think, the most outstanding talent. Biggest loss that India has really had. He was a global figure. I can't think of a bigger loss.
Yes. So coming to the organization which you have set up, your advisory board has got who's who, including people like Rana Daggubati. So I want to understand how closely is the advisory board involved? What role do they play?
Well, I mean, our conversations they differ from person to person. So my conversations with Rana, for instance, are always about what can be done within the Indian ecosystem and the fact that Indian films are now, earlier they used to be very language and region specific. That is not the case anymore. That's changing, and people are more and more watching movies from different parts of India. So our conversations are more about that, about how do you build the Indian ecosystem. Jerome Payad is the former director of the Cannes Film Market. I look to him for advice and feedback on how we can grow this market. So we have a lot of back and forth and discussions. Similarly, Nicole Guillemot was the director of Sundance Film Festival. So she brings her own value on the ecosystem. Nuha Shumayu, who's a young filmmaker from Bangladesh, has the most outstanding story to tell. He pitched a short film in a short film festival, and thanks to that film, he's actually got 3 Hollywood productions in hand, which is just incredible. Ajit Pal, of course, is super talented. He started with Fire in the Mountains. He was in Sundance Film Festival, and I mean, he's an amazing filmmaker. I have enormous respect for him.
Very interesting. Nina, when I speak to you, uh, how would you describe yourself? Obviously, you like films, and you're also, I'm sure, a numbers person, considering you were with the IRS for 19 years. Was it 19 or 17 years?
In the IRIS, well, 16 and a half years, but I can honestly say I'm not a numbers person. If I was, I would have probably still been there. I am not,
So,
yes.
how did that career switch happen from IRS to films? Did you have an innate love for films, and did you always think that you'd perhaps go and do some things in movies?
Well, it was just by chance, I was posted to Delhi, and when you are in the civil services, you have the option of getting a deputation to the government of India, to the main secretariat. And I applied for that, and I got a job in the Ministry of Information and Broadcasting. And the then minister and the secretary INV decided to give me charge of films, and I got into film policy. It came naturally to me. I took to it very well. I had a wonderful relationship and rapport with the film industry. I understood their problems. So it just came by default.
And tell us the story of the turnaround, the big turnaround. You know, you actually made NFDC profitable. How would you describe your journey?
Well, I think, when I joined NRIs, it had a lot of problems. It was a sick PSU, which is the terminology that's used in the government for a company that is not able to generate profits. It had a huge manpower expense because of the number of employees that NRIs had. So my principal job was really to do two things. One was to diversify sources of revenues within the company, and the second was to cut down the staff. I managed to do both of them.
Okay. And would you venture and tell me who are your three of your favorite actors and from India, three of your favorite actors from abroad?
No, I'm not going to do that.
I'm
I
not able to
don't.
put you in any spot at all throughout the interview, huh?
No. I like all actors. I have to say, if the film appeals, then you just end up falling in love with the actors and the characters.
That's a very politically correct answer, but we'll let you go. All right. It was fantastic speaking to you. Wishing you good
Thank
luck for
you.
the festival here. And,
Thank you so much.
and your international leg. I believe you're going to LA and then Cannes, correct?
Yes, that's right. Yes. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Neena. If you enjoyed the interview, please press the like button and share it ahead. There were lots of great insights and stories we heard from Nina Lath Gupta. Thank you very much for watching Connected to India.